thewellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives. This is Up for a Chat with Cyndi O'Meara, Carren Smith, and Kim Morrison.
Here we are, up for a chat about the hottest topics that are important to you, inspiring you to awaken the change within. I'm Carren Smith.
I'm Kim Morrison.
And I'm Cyndi O'Meara.
And we're picking up on part 2 of last week's amazing podcast on Cyndi O'Meara's business. Last week we covered her business journey right from the very beginning, and this week we're continuing the ride. Certainty now. You have evidence.
Yeah, I do. And you were going to sum something up. You should have seen Kim has been writing madly. I'm going to let you.
Well, it's almost like a business plan you've got.
Well, these are the things that I've learned from you that I think for anyone listening, just a quick summary. And I think the things I've learned from you in this hour is, planning. Planning's quite important to you, as in you've never jumped as in just gone, stuff it, I'll do it. I think you've done that as far as writing, but you're very cautious with money, and that's something I've always been very mindful of with you, and you're a wonderful mentor for that. You said get people on board, ask people around you, question, gather information, don't be afraid to do that.
I think a lot of people, because we've got this culture in business, particularly in small business, it's very competitive. And especially with social media, everybody wants to be perceived to be successful, even when they're not. And I think what happens is we get stuck with trying to make ourselves look good, therefore thinking that's what's going to drive more business our way. If I look like I'm successful and I pretend that I'm successful on social media, then, people will trust me and people will do business with me. But the downside to that is that you don't get to show your vulnerability and say, I don't know what I'm doing and I need a bit of help here. Can somebody help me? My business is going backwards right now. And I think that social media, unfortunately, has come at a price from that perspective in a business environment where people don't feel safe to say, how do I do this? Where do I go next? What should I do? Because they're too busy trying to make themselves look good. And I've actually seen 7 businesses go out of business in the first 12 months because of that very reason in the last year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and that's interesting you say that, because I've got a policy around social media that I won't post negative things or awful things or things like, I'm tired, I can't do this today. I refuse to put that on my face. That's my philosophy.
Yeah.
But what I love about yours and Cyndi's and probably what I do is some days I'll go, oh my gosh, what's your best remedy for a cold? What do you guys use? I think I love using social media as a platform for learning, not a whinging dumping ground. I think that's really important, and not perceiving that, because someone else said to me, I put a picture on Instagram one day when someone had trolleyed my car, my brand new car, and I had a photo of me frowning, pointing to the car, going, how could no one leave a message and say they'd done this hideous thing? And I'll never forget this person's comment said, oh my gosh, that's the first picture, image or thing I've seen from you that's not positive. Wow. And I went, oh my gosh, she wasn't saying it awfully. She was just like, oh my God, I can understand your pain. But I realised how positive I am. But it's not a show. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the important distinction.
But I also think that there's a distinction between you as an individual.
Yes.
And then there's people who are on social media from a business perspective.
Oh, I see.
Just with that point that Cyndi made of being prepared to ask questions and say, where do I go? What do you think?
Yes.
From a business point of view, I think that there's a lot of people who won't do that because they go into business and they want to look like they are... they want to look like they're more successful than what they are because they're not comfortable with being a startup. They don't want people to think that they're just a startup. They want people to think that they're already this massive success. And they're not. They're still a startup. And the vulnerability just is missed. Therefore, they're not asking the right questions of the right people, and then their businesses go bust.
And another thing that I think is really important to... this is what I find. When somebody has written a book... and they come to me and they go, I have this idea for a book, but I don't want to tell anybody. It's secret squirrel stuff, and I'm scared someone's going to steal it from me. And I actually say to them, if you've written a book, you've got to get that message out. And it's not about people stealing from you, because it's so much competition out there in the marketplace, and actually I don't see it as competition, because I think about how few people were out in the marketplace doing nutrition when I first started compared to how many people are doing competition now. You know, how many people are out there in the marketplace doing nutrition now. And what's happened is that it has propelled a huge industry. So we don't see each other as competition. We see each other as fueling a bigger and bigger industry. There's 7 billion people on the planet. Like this lady that I was speaking to at the conference on Sunday, she'd written a book, and you know, she was worried about her competitors, and she was worried about all of these things. And I just think it's time that we realise that it's not about the competition, and it's not about, you know, holding things in. It is about spreading the word and not worrying about your competition, but doing what you do best and doing the best thing you can do. Not copying off other people, but having your own thoughts, your own ideas, your own things, learning from people, but not trying to, you know, steal from people. Do you know what I mean here?
Well, I think that book, The Science of Getting Rich, Napoleon Hill said in there, you can get creative or you can get competitive.
Exactly.
And creative means there's enough for everybody. Competitive means you're selfishly thinking you're the only one that can do it. And I think the most important thing is that if you stay creative, otherwise if we stayed competitive, the minute a publisher got approached with another person wanting to write a cookbook, there'd be no more cookbooks.
Oh no, there's so many out there.
There's always room for another good cookbook.
Yes.
There's always room for another good nutritionist. There's always room for another good speaker trainer. There's always room for another aromatherapy company. Like, let's not think that we've got the monopoly here. It's just the way we deliver it. It will attract certain people. And I think in business, what I learned as a therapist is some people will come to you. They'll start seeing you if you're a therapist, for instance, and you offer the service and they like it, you like them, the whole thing works. You might be away one week and they see someone else. All of a sudden you don't see that person anymore. Yeah. Now you could take that personally and think you're no good, you're not a good therapist, or you could think, actually that person, you know, our level of communication and interaction has completed, we've got enough from one another, now they're working with someone else. Fantastic. I think as a therapist you should feel fantastic. Your job is to help them find the right people for them, not fill your pocket or fill your needs of what you need in clients, because that will open again. So what else did you get? I think one of the other things you said was don't rush and be open. I think that was a really good thing, which just follows up on getting your information. Business coaches was something I think we both got a big aha over, Carren, like getting that person who is the hardcore, the one that won't let you play when you want to play. And actually what I get now is, rather than saying it's not no, you can't do it, for instance,
justify it.
Well, for instance, I really want to, I've done all my planning for repackaging, I've got all the products worked out, what I'm putting in, I've got the labels worked out and everything. But when I did my ROI, I realised that I needed to have a buffer of $20,000 sitting in the account to make sure, on top of everything else, but it was $20,000 I needed sitting there to account for the changeover and to account for the build-up, the lead-in, and all of that sort of jazz, and also the extra labels, the extra packaging, and all of that, in order to make sure I could meet my bills every month, which I've got. I know exactly what I had to earn each month to break even, and I've realised now that it wasn't going to happen in February this year, and we're now into March, and I've now put it for the end of July, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I feel a relief around it, because I was so scared that I wouldn't. I mean, I think fear is not a bad thing to have in business, but I just think that little bit of planning and that doing that ROI actually is what brings me back down to earth, because now that I'm paying for 4 people that work with me, I realise I need to make sure I pay their bills before I go and do something, which I think is a fantastic idea to repackage.
Yeah, and what our business coach did for us is keep us accountable, keep us on track. What I loved in the beginning is he created we did a personality plan, you know, much like what you do, Kimmy, to figure out what our strengths and our weaknesses are. And from that, he realised, you know, what we were and how we did things. So he realised that you, Cyndi, you need to be structured and given this to do in small increments. You, Howie, need to see the big picture. So it was because of that personality profile that he did for us that he was able to do that. But I believe meeting him every week, and we had a sheet of paper and we had things we had to do on that sheet of paper, and he would ask us had we completed it or not, and why had we not completed it, and what's holding us up, and what are our, what is causing the problem that's holding it up. Was it time, or was it you just couldn't get it out, or was it something else that got in your way? And then we discuss what the hindrance was and how can we get rid of that hindrance so that you're on time and you can do things. And when we were doing it every single week, and it slowly progressed, everything slowly progressed, and it was a slow progression. I look back now and it feels like it happened yesterday when we first sat in his office. But really, this has been a step-by-step.
Has it been 3 years, 4 years?
Oh, no, it's 5 years.
Oh,
5
Since
years.
when you first met
Since
Bruce.
we first met Bruce. Yeah, 5 years.
And don't they say that most 80% of businesses go under in the first 5 years?
And ours is just... Our business has gone beyond expectations. We won quite a few awards with Action Coaches. And, Bruce ended up stopped calculating our figures because he would always do it in percentages, and he just said, I can't keep up. I don't know how to say it anymore.
Wow, wonderful.
And I just went, oh, really? Because I remember watching in the first year, you're with Action Coaches, and he is with Action Coaches, although I think he's split now. I think his business is called Business Entrepreneurial School here on the Sunshine Coast. But I think still he's associated with Action Coaches. But, there's a group of Action Coaches on the coast and around the world. They're worldwide, these coaches. And they all follow the same principles, and it's all by a gentleman that I met 25 years ago. I remember Brad Sugars was his name. And Brad Sugars was in... not Toastmasters, but business or speakers. Remember?
The
Australian National Speakers. I met Brad there. He was one of the young, upcoming young men that was speaking, and now he owns this multi-billion, I'm sure, I don't think it's million anymore, multi-billion-dollar business in coaching. He coaches businesses to do well, and it's all very systemized, and it's all very structured, and he has hundreds of disciples or thousands of disciples. He probably started like what I'm doing with changing habits. Start with yourself, you go out speaking, you help people with businesses, other people want to know it, so you coach people to do that. It's train the trainer type thing. So anyway, I remember sitting at an awards ceremony, and this was our first or second year, and this woman, who I will not name, but had done 2 million that year, and it's because she'd done $1 million the last year, and she'd done 2 million the second year, and he talked about how she doubled her business and what she did, and I'm in awe, going, oh my gosh, even $1 million, wow, So I'm sitting there in that first year in awe of these people, but they inspired me. I went, I'm going to be up there. It was that competitive edge, Kimmy.
I think it's healthy.
I think it is. It was like, I want that trophy. And what's a trophy? Really? What is that? But I want to be up there. I want to do.
I think it's benchmarks.
Is it benchmarks?
It's
possibility.
It's possibility. And the fact that you have got something to aim for. Otherwise, you just feel like you're this. I was going to say udderless. I mean rudderless. An udderless cow, a rudderless ship. And I think it's sometimes nice to have those points. Like for me, turning over 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month, 50,000 a month. Oh my gosh, 100,000 a month. Like when you start actually hitting those goals, and you don't know what that means. I mean, 100,000 a month might be extraordinary for someone like me, but Toyota would freak.
Go broke.
It's relative, isn't it?
It is relative, and as we were talking before, it also depends on your, like if you're selling something that's, Toyota sells things between 20,000 and 250,000. So that's their, that's what they're selling. But you and I, Kimmy, we sell things at anywhere between $15, even less. All the way up to maybe $200. So that's relative. So when you're seeing someone's a multi-billion-dollar business as opposed to a multi-million, they may actually be selling the same amount and doing the same amount and getting the same profits. Do you see what I mean?
It's just the cost of the goods that they sell.
It's the cost of the goods they sell. And
I remember
you go.
I just remember this guy who thought he was a businessman, and used to drive his wife batty, but he would say, "Oh, my business turns over $1 million a year," and she'd be like, and you'd think, "Wow,
Yeah."
and she's like, "But that's not our profit. In fact, you're costing us that a year." Like, he would think that just because he had this business turning over $1 million a year, that he was profitable. I think that's the other thing that I've learned.
That's the key thing, is that you may be a multi-million-dollar business, but you may only be bringing home $100,000. And a lot of businesses, and that's what Howard and I noticed when we were looking at businesses, is that, you know, oh my gosh, it's turning over $2 million. But when we really looked at the figures, all we were doing was buying a job, just over broke. All we were doing was that. There wasn't enough profit in the business to make it worthwhile, even though it was doing that. But then I would look at Howard's chiropractic business and I'd say, costs you nothing for your hands. All we're doing is paying rent and a phone, basically, and electricity. And your hands are making more than that multi-million-dollar business, even though you're under the million. You know, do you know what I mean?
Profit in that is
the profit was far greater, but your return on investment was far. And I think, you know, when people sprout about how much money they're making, it's not about how much they're making, it's how much they're keeping.
Yes.
So it's their return on sales.
Yeah.
So your sales could be $1 million, but your bottom line is 10,000.
Yeah.
So the percentage of profit is 10%. You know, like is 0.1% or 1%.
And one of the things that Bruce taught Howard was something called COGS. I'd never heard of COGS before.
Oh, yeah.
COGS. Like, I kept going, COGS? What are we going COGS for? But that was really... I don't even know what it stands for now, but I know what it's... Cost of goods sold. So what I didn't realise is that, yeah, here's my book, like in the beginning of my business. Here's my book. It costs me this much money. I sell it for this much. That means that's my profit. But then what about my time? What about the receptionist or the somebody else I'm paying? What about the postage and handling? What about this? What about that? So he really explained that to us. And like I said, when we started with Bruce, I saw it as a university degree. I saw that that's what we were paying for, was a degree in business. Neither of us had it. My husband was a chiropractor. I'm a nutritionist. And, you know, you can be a chiropractor or a nutritionist, but you may not be a businessman. And I often see even doctors making lots of money and then going out and buying Mercedes or BMWs and beautiful big homes, and they own none of it because all they're doing is getting enough money to pay the interest. And then they go down the tubes if anything goes wrong, and it's a very stressful life. And that was one thing that we said to Bruce, we don't want to borrow. We want to stay a cash business. And so the growth... If you want to borrow, you can go and borrow quite a few $1 million and produce a business. But the stress, I think, on that is really scary. Whereas when you go, how much can we build from what we've done now? What's our next step that we can do without having to do it? And I understand that borrowing money is part of business, but it doesn't have to be.
My sister always said to me right from the very beginning, because my sister's, you know, incredibly successful. She's retired at 46. And she's incredibly successful. And she always said to me, never invest $1. She said, never invest more than $1 in your business. She said, don't invest more than $1 in your business. Make your business make you money. And then what the business makes, invest that. But don't go invest in your house. Don't go getting great big mortgages out. She said, because it's like gambling. You don't know. And she said, and you also don't know if you've got the right product, wrong market, or wrong market, right product, or right market, wrong product. She said, you don't know until you're actually in business. So she said, so don't invest any of your own dollars in it, which I thought was the very, very best advice that I've ever had. And yeah, I'm very fortunate with my sister.
Actually, you've just brought up something that I remember hearing someone say, and her name was Anita. She started the Body Shop. She's now passed away. Roddick. Anita Roddick.
Is it Anita Roddick?
Yeah, you're right. You've got it. So Anita was speaking in Brisbane, and I went and listened to her speak. And because she didn't have enough money to start her business, and the banks wouldn't give it to her, she had a friend invest in that business.
Yeah, right.
And then, of course, that business became a multi-million-dollar business. Now, I think that friend invested $4,000.
Yeah, right.
And she, to buy him out, had to pay millions of dollars.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's always good if you are going to go into partnership or borrow money other than from a bank, or I don't know, in any way, you've got to really look at that, because if your business does go crazy, you realise that, great, you couldn't have done it without that $4,000.
Absolutely.
But I remember her saying, I was so anxious to start that I wasn't prepared to earn that money to do it. I think she was opening her first shop and she needed that. I think it was £4,000 or something like that. It was just, and she said, I spent millions buying him out because he invested $4,000 in my business.
Well, I know another lady who was struggling with capital to begin with her business, and the lady that she needed to do the manufacturing part of her business, neither of them knew it was going to work, but they both had passion. Well, the manufacturer believed in her and she believed she could do it, and so what they offered one another was she offered her a certain percentage of the company. So that was her investment into the company, and that's now worth a multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah, see, that's awesome.
And I think that's a beautiful way to look at trying to grow a business. It's your time you're investing then, isn't it? And you're trusting and backing yourself.
You really got to think. It's not just something... A lot of people have businesses and it is just a job. So it's got to be a passion. You've got to know that you can make ends meet, because we live in a world where we have to make ends meet. And it's about looking at the budget, return on investment. You have to become a businesswoman. You also have to become savvy in marketing and social media, because that's where marketing is these days, is in our social media. So there are, but this
You
all
have to accept no's and rejection.
Yes, yeah, you do. You do.
It's part of being a salesperson.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's part of being a salesperson, because you are the salesperson. No matter what you're doing, you are a salesperson. But don't think you have to know it all now. So for me, I look back at my history of what I've done since 1998 to here, and what I know now is far greater than what I knew back in 1998. But I'm kind of glad I didn't know that back then, because I don't know if I would have started. Because the knowledge you have to gather as over your time. So all I want to do is write a book. That's all I knew what to do. Then I went, oh my gosh, I got to edit it. Then I got someone to help me edit it. I got to format it. What's formatting? What's a literary agent? So it will come. That education will come. But have your mentors and have a business coach. If even if it's just a business coach that you go and listen to them speak, at least get those ideas. Get their book. There's lots of books out.
Podcasts. There's some fantastic business podcasts.
There are, aren't there?
You can download.
Yeah.
One other thing that you said that I thought was a really good one was trust, and I wrote signposts. You didn't actually say that, but just your story around getting your PhD nutritionist educator, and I thought that was a really good analogy about trusting and I mean, you manifested him. I thought that was another great thing. I mean, if we hadn't learned about manifestation, we wouldn't have known. You wouldn't know to put that down. I have a vision board. I have my Pinterest board. I have my my diary, and just every now and again I'll write certain things in there. They might not have any meaning to anybody else, but one word could drive you. One. For me, the word run is actually a huge metaphor for me, because for me, I know what it means to run. I feel good, I feel bad, I have a high, I have a low, I get a blister, I get elation, I get joy, I get a win, I get a fallback, I get a knockback, I get excitement. There's just, that to me is life.
We can go on from there, because we've still got quite a few lists that she's got there, but I'm thinking about this whole education thing, and I remember, and I haven't got up there anymore, but I have a pin board in my office, and on that left-hand corner in that pin board, I actually had, what do I want to put on my education course? So I was like going, right, I want to talk about the endocrine system. I want to talk about the thyroid. I want to talk about vitalism versus mechanism, anthropology. And so I wrote it all down, and I had that list. And it's funny where it started. It started in that top left-hand corner of my pin board. That's where it started. And so this is where things are created. It's an idea that you have. You write it down and you go, well, that's what I want to do. And I watch you, Carren. You're amazing. So I want everybody to know what happens when we do a speaking engagement together. So we did Awaken the Change. Can we talk about this? Is this okay for me to talk about the Awaken the Change within last year?
I don't know what you're about to say.
All right,
I'm scared. Just go with it.
Just go with it.
Because we've got Awaken the Change coming up this year.
I know.
Sorry.
Okay. All right, so this whole Awaken the Change Within, the whole podcasting is even interesting as to how we went through this and how we got into this. But I remember us going, right, let's do an Awaken the Change Within seminar. Right, then when are we going to do it? Oh, we'll do it February. Where are we going to do it? Oh, we're going to do it on the Sunshine Coast. Right, well, we better start marketing it. Oh, no, we haven't got enough people. Let's keep marketing it. And what did we have?
80?
80 people came, and I think the week before we had 30.
Yeah.
Maybe 30 people. I don't know what happened, but it was like, it just evolved. So then it's Saturday night.
So sometimes jumping in, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was funny. That was
Totally.
funny. But we did Friday night and we spoke Saturday night. And then we're Saturday. And then Saturday night we're about to go to a
VIP
dinner. And we're walking down the stairs. I'll never forget this moment. We're walking down the stairs and Carren grabs Kim and I by both arms. They want more of us. We're going to create a 5-day retreat. Right. This is how we're going to do it. And in half an hour?
No, it was within walking. From there to the restaurant. So it was in 8 minutes. We had a 5-day retreat planned. Right. It was phenomenal.
It was. You're good at this. So Carren is definitely the girl here.
Totes.
She did it so well.
But then she doesn't just go up. She does it with strategy. She does everything that we're all dreaming of doing. Us an hour. She does it in a minute would be the analogy I'd say.
I agree. And she's got these amazing entrepreneurial ideas. So,
everybody needs a Carren on their team. Yeah. She's very, very... I swear to you, if you can have... people in your corner that actually... Because the worst thing about... I'm not saying a howie, but someone that goes no or you can't. Like sometimes people like us will feel like our wings are constantly clipped. Whereas someone like Carren will go, right, and how do you plan to do that, love? and it's like, oh, well, I hadn't thought about how. I just thought we'd do it, But I quite like that difference that you bring. Yeah. And I always have you in my little ear when I'm doing hang on, I'm not going to launch now my new packaging until July. How am I going to do that? And maybe if I think about how, it might happen in June. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like it actually takes away the no to the how soon could I make this happen?
You could say that Carren thinks on her feet and very quickly and very smartly. So anyway, what ended up happening the next morning?
Didn't know you guys thought that.
Oh yes. The next morning it was like Carren tells everybody about what we are going to do. So we'd organised it the night before. Carren gets up, says everything. We don't have a venue, but this is what we're going to do. We decided we needed 20 people to make this work. 17 signed up that day out of 80 people. So
I get excited at that.
Yeah, you were pretty amazing. And that was like, oh my gosh.
They were such a good group.
They were an amazing group. And you know what? Well, one of them, Kirsty.
Oh, beautiful
Kirsty, who came to that and dragged her husband along. Poor man.
Beautiful man.
Beautiful man. Dragged her husband along, and we've become really close to them.
And Kirsty was the one that we ended up doing the triathlon with, and it's thanks to her. Like, here she was saying we inspired her, but she was the one that turned around and said, do you girls want to do a triathlon? And so for people to think that they come to any of our seminars and think that we are up there trying to do something, you have no idea.
The minute they come to the seminar, they're family.
Yeah.
Just saying. The minute you come to Awaken the Change, you're family.
And you're stuck with us.
Yeah, that's not in the brochure. That's the added bonus. That's the steak knives.
You just mentioned Leonie Douglas. She was another one that was at our Awaken the Change.
Oh, no, Leonie McDonald.
Oh, I thought you said...
Leonie McDonald. Different lady, but she listens to Up for a Chat, and she came to Speakers Fast Track on the weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And she was, quite amazing, because as I was playing, like as I mentioned in one of the other podcasts, I played the Up for a Chat podcast to my audience at Speakers Fast Track, just so they would know what podcasts were. There's Leonie and I mouthing the words to Awaken the Change Within, inspiring you to... Like, Leonie and I were having quite a giggle about that. But it was really cool, because there was lots of people that, came to our events. But I think the great part about that is that when we do come up with something, like we did at the last Awaken the Change, when we do come up with something... we're really honest about it, wasn't it? I think I actually stood up on the stage and said, we just came up with that this last night because we know we're not finished with you guys. We know there's more to get, and we know that...
You did. You told them exactly how this happened and what we felt like. And
well, that's a really good point in business, though, I think.
Well, be honest.
Be honest.
Very honest.
And I think you've got to get to the point, certainly for me, I think I've got to get to the point where I trust my intuition to a certain extent, where I know that if I come up with an idea and it's an educated idea, I must go with it. And I didn't know if anybody was going to jump on board. I didn't know if anybody was going to get excited about that. But it gets to the point where I say, well, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to trust myself. And if it's meant to be, it will be. And if it's not meant to be, well, I'm totes cool with that. It just means that there's something else coming.
I love it when you go, she's talking, she's selling, she's conversing, she's totally, and I'm in, I'm signed up. She had me at hello. But I'm wondering what the rest of the room's feeling. And then she says this beautiful line. Are you ready for it? Is anyone flirting with the possibility of this? And then that's when she gets the gauge, and if half the hands go up, then she just gives it to them about what we're going to deliver. And I'm sitting there going, I've got to write that, I've got to do that, I've got to do this. But it's such a, I think it's powerful. It's feel the fear and do it anyway. Like, kind of like test the water, get a feeling like...
Yeah, well, when I say is anybody flirting with coming, it's kind of like me saying, have I given enough information? Because if only half the room puts their hands up, then I know there's not enough information I haven't given.
That's right.
Which means then, okay, hell, my vision of what we saw possibly isn't clear enough. So I need to get a little bit clearer and then communicate that. And so then I end up creating the event while I'm promoting it.
We know.
Okay.
And we're down the back going, we've got to make sure we do that.
Oh gosh, we've got to do that. Oh my gosh, I've got a lot of work to do. She's just said that I remember this. She goes,
we're talking about vibrational frequency.
And Cyndi will give information that she's never given before. And I'm looking at her going...
and Kim's going to take you on these exercise sessions that you are not going to believe. And I'm like, oh God, exercise sessions. That even I can't believe. But out of that, I created my 4, 5, 7, 10-minute WODs, that have now gone on to be a daily thing that goes onto Facebook. Thanks. This is where I think business is so ever-evolving and beautiful.
It is evolving.
It's a process of creation, isn't it? And we all do it our own different ways.
And I've watched yours evolve. And next podcast, our next week, we will be talking about Carren's amazing evolution.
Oh, it's an extraordinary story.
I just watch how you evolve, from writing a book. No, see, I've seen you from the first day that you spoke, and I just watch your evolution and where you are now, and I go, how does she do that? How does she evolve like that? She just, and you know what? Awesome. If it's not working, do something different.
Yeah.
Most people keep doing the same thing and they wonder why it's not working for them. But what I find you do, Carren, if it's not working for you, you evolve it and you change it. And I've watched you do Carren's Couch, and we will be talking about that next week. But I watched you do Carren's Couch and it just wasn't working, was it? Just wasn't getting there. And then for some reason you evolved it even further, and now it's just flying. I've watched from the day you started Carren's Couch, or even the concept of it.
Yeah,
it's been really fun watching you.
And I really wanted to keep just the last couple of weeks. Well, the last couple of months, I really wanted to keep it a secret, and it was especially a secret from you guys for you guys.
She has. She's kept it a secret.
I haven't told you guys anything about it, and I did that especially for you. Because I wanted it to be, because you've been so close to me on all of the ride.
Yeah.
And I really thought to myself, I'm not even going to tell Kim and Cyndi about it. They're not going to know anything that I'm doing. Because you guys know everything that I'm doing all the time. So I thought, no, I'm not going to tell you guys.
We don't know when she's having emotion.
And I remember telling even the producer saying, not a word.
I know, she kept it.
Not a word.
But you know what was really quite funny? Because we knew nothing. And the producer's mother was at one of my talks in Sydney and
you
said something.
You think you had a secret?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
How did that work out?
She said something, and I went, what? What? No, I didn't know this. Tell me more. And she said, oh, maybe no. You tell me what's happening. And I came in when I came home from Sydney. I came into Carren and I went, you have things to tell us.
And you weren't actually really, because you weren't really supposed to actually get the big bang until next Tuesday.
Oh, shame.
Yeah.
Well, I went on and...
Yeah, I know, but I knew that you kind of would get a bit of a feeling of it, and I thought, actually, neither of you have posted on Facebook, neither of you have made a comment. Sweet, you still don't know. So I kind of came in thinking, when we were coming in to do the podcast, I thought, oh, should I say something? Should I not say something? And I just thought, oh, have you seen the post? Have you seen it? And I didn't actually want to do the big reveal.
It was already there on my screen.
I know.
But isn't it funny how somebody just happens to be at my talk in Sydney that
I
happens to be working with you, and I went,
You
can know, but you cannot hide. And this is what business is it is an evolution, and there are some times when we do a bit of an but there are other times that we need to plan beautifully. But your oughts are calculated, I've decided. Mine weren't always calculated, but yours are calculated. You really, yeah. So what else have you got there, Kim, that we've
definitely, I think the one thing, you didn't say this, but this was an observation with Carren and I watching you, that you walk the talk. I guess that comes back to truth and honesty. People know the minute you start talking whether you're fake or not, and, you know, if you're going to be someone that sells your business. And I think before you both said you should have your passion around your business, and I was thinking about that, and I thought maybe if it's not your passion, because sometimes we don't have a choice to do our own business, or the confidence or the money or the backing or even the desire. So therefore I was thinking a part of a business, whether you're working for someone else or not, is also making the best of what you've got until something else comes along. So don't sit there whinging and complaining that it's not right or it's not fair or it's not going well or whatever. You've got to be constantly, and you girls have taught me this, you've got to be constantly in action to create new possibilities. So for me, walking the talk is a very big thing, particularly probably from the three of us. I mean, if Carren was a useless speaker, it would be hilarious that she was standing up there speaking. You know, there'd be no confidence. And yet she thinks her first talk she ever did was the worst speech out in the world.
Whereas we thought
it was totally. No, it wasn't. I think your other point that you made about being accountable, I think that's a very, very important part of business. And I think the accountability. How do you stay accountable, Carren?
I'm very lucky. I'm an accountant.
But I remember
so funny the way you said that. I'm accountable because I'm an accountant.
Yeah. It's not really working out for me.
I was going to say, a few podcasts ago, you were the one that was terrible with managing what you were doing with it.
No, I know, and I actually am. That was just a lie. I thought it sounded funny. And I think I'm hilarious.
She was trying to get away with it.
Yeah, no, it didn't work out well. No, I guess I'm fortunate now, and certainly wasn't like this in the beginning, but I'm fortunate now because Matt keeps me accountable. Because to Matt, money is a very primary focus for Matt. So I will get a bit excited, and I do go off on my little adventures and stuff, and Matt is part of that for me. But my mentor is my sister, and my sister's a multi. So I have her as my coach. If I'm to say, for want of a better word, she's absolutely my coach. So she keeps me accountable. So she's the one who says, don't spend $1 that you're not prepared to lose. And she's, she gives me all the recipes of replicate and repeat and replicate and then, adjust and rework and all that. So I'm probably at a point now where I need my sister a little more. And, we're talking about how we can make that work. But she definitely keeps me accountable, but I keep myself accountable. I mean, I do. From a financial point of view, I'm all over it like a fat kid on a Smartie. And that's a PHAT kid. That's a PHAT kid. I'm all over it.
Like, how do you both know when you're at that next level?
I don't, to be honest. I'm just going... The way that I do it is I go with my desire. And I go with my intuition, and if the desire is there, and I have rules around it, because I do get distracted with shiny things, and I get creative ideas. I wake up with them every morning. Every single morning, I wake up with a new creative idea. Every morning, it's exhausting sometimes. But now the way that I work with it is, if the idea stays with me for 5 days, and the excitement and the anticipation builds over the 5 days, then I'll action it. And if I action it and it turns into something fantastic, if I action it and it doesn't turn into something, I know that just leads me to the next step. So that's my rule, 5 days. If it's with me for 5 days, I'll take action on it and see where it leads me. Nice. That's why I'm busy all the time.
Nice. You said also, and I think the other point I got from you, Cyndi, was just do it. Like, don't sit around. Both of you would be definitely do it, sir. said a word.
We're definitely doers. Because there's a lot of people.
Doers.
There are a lot of people that are. What do they call them?
I'm a do-its.
We're do-its,
Gunner.
but there's gunners.
Oh, gunners.
There's gunners where they have an idea, and it is a brilliant idea. Yeah, give me a do-it, not a gunner.
Do me any day.
Yeah.
See? Tart. Not a podcast without tartnicity or poo.
Or princesses or rock stars. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
Or tarts.
Carry on.
Carry on.
Give me a do-it.
So there's gunners and there's do-its. And there's lots of great ideas out there. There's lots of entrepreneurial ideas. And I think you've got to be a do-it, not a gunner. And I know people who have for 20 years been gunner, and they never do it.
Yeah. Well, not our Kimmy.
No, it's not Kimmy.
No,
not at all.
Kimmy's a doer.
Yeah.
Tart.
And that's it. It is about getting out there, and it's also about trusting, because if you have fear, what we're talking about, feel the fear and do it anyway. Some people feel the fear and never ever do it, then regret, and then say I should have gone. They should all over themselves and could have all over themselves. And I think there's a bit of trust, and the trust that my education program is the right thing to do, and at the right moment. I know I'm there. I've got this.
It takes courage too.
Courage. That's such a big word.
Because you can, what you're saying there. It's very important. You get to the point where you trust yourself and you trust your ideas. Yeah, you think about the oils that you bring out, Kim.
Oh, yes.
You know, the blends that you put together. Oh, if you guys could see that, that was hilarious. Kim put jasmine oil on a piece of toilet paper for me because I was having a moment a little while ago. Cyndi just stuck it up her nose, sniffed it in tight so that it sucked to her face. Oh, people, who are we today? But you think about all of those things, like when you put your blends together, there's got to be a point where you just trust that what you've created is magic.
And you know what? Whatever blend you put together,
oh my goodness,
it's just stunning. It's absolutely stunning, and it is a trust, because all of a sudden you just came out with all these blends, you in your book, and you started with a book too, and we will be talking about Kim's journey as well. That will come the week after Carren's Couch. It's just, it is a trust and courage.
It's trusting, I think. Trusting your ideas, trusting that you've got the capability, trusting that you can do it, and then having the courage to take that to market.
And I also don't want to know too much. Like, seriously, if you told me what I was going to have to do to get my products to market, I don't know if I would have done it if you told me that at the beginning.
True that, I'm with you all the way on that.
Do you know what?
Yeah, totes.
Sometimes I think ignorance is bliss, or just trusting that this is the moment that all you need to know right here, right now.
You know what? If you had told me that I would have 15 team members that I was accountable for, and that I had to make enough money to make sure that they've got enough money to feed their families, I would have run as fast as I could have.
But hang
because
on.
I hate that responsibility is scary.
Isn't this a metaphor for life? Weren't we talking the other day last week about being present and in the moment? Isn't it a metaphor for life? Because if you knew what was going to come in your business, you wouldn't do it. But in the ignorance and the bliss of the moment, and just being caught up in the trusting and the creativity, and being present to what you're creating, and then just being with it, being with whatever you're building and evolving and expanding into, actually has something magical be the result. But here we are with life, living in the future, thinking, I just wish it would get here, I wish I'd win the lottery, or I wish it would just happen, I wish it would happen. We're totally missing out on the magic of the creativity that's possible in the moment. Stop it. Therein lies a tattoo or a bumper sticker. If anybody remembers what I just said,
it's recorded.
Actually,
chin chin.
Do you know what? Kim and I were just staring at you then, because
green juice to everybody.
You did, yeah. You nailed it. And you are so right, because when you are in your business, you are in that creative mode. And yes, you're looking at the future, but you're not in that mode when you're in that creative mode.
Well, you're not thinking that in 10 years' time you're going to have 15 people, because if you did, you wouldn't act now.
No. you'd freak.
It
You'd
would
go,
totally freak you.
So let's just stop looking at the future and let's just act now. It's a beautiful metaphor for life.
And maybe turn that on the days that aren't so good too. So on the days that it's not going so well for you, or you're behind schedule, or you're not doing great, or you're upset with something or other, or someone said no, or someone's just turned your book down, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's the other thing to stay in with on those days. Surrender. Surrender to that moment. Like, just be okay. We'll be okay with it. No?
Shut the front door. Because isn't it?
I just loved Facebook over the weekend, or a couple of weekends ago, when you had done a 2-day course. It was quite a few weekends ago. Do you remember that? And everybody was doing your isms.
Hey, did you see that?
Everybody was doing your isms. I did.
There was a woman, I'm going to try and bring it up. There was a woman who was in my course. Oh my God, so clever.
And I just went, they've listened to her for 3 days and they know every ism she's got. Like, the poor Up for Chatters listeners have had to listen to you for 67, 80, I don't know how many hours have we done? 70 hours?
70.
And they finally got you.
Oh, my heart breaks for you all. Really.
Carrenisms.
Did you see that post?
I saw the start of those, but I didn't see what.
Oh no, this
That
one's
was
like,
it was one post. It was
This is
brilliant.
totes amaze balls. This was awesome. I'll try and find it. You please talk amongst yourselves.
Well, then maybe on that note, we can talk about one of the other points you made was your tribe, your village.
Yeah.
People of like-mindedness. I think...
and culture.
Culture.
The
and
culture is so
philosophy.
important.
And do you know, what would you say, though, to... So what about the person that doesn't necessarily want to go and run a business or something or other, but is passionate about something in life? Not everyone will want to run a business. So would you suggest then whatever you're working, so say it was coming to work for you, or maybe your dream would be to work in someone's environment 9 to 3 and doing this for that person. Do you think that has the same potential as anyone that wants to run a business?
Definitely, especially if they're in a culture and a business that they love.
Shower.
No, a culture and a business that they love. So let me take one of my team members, and Ruth won't mind me saying her name. Too bad if you do, Ruth, because I'm saying it. So Ruth had heard about Changing Habits. She wanted to work for Changing Habits. So she was at the Right HR, so she was with Sally, and she came in for the first job that was available at Changing Habits, and it wasn't what she wanted, but she knew she wanted to be here. And in actual fact, we didn't give her the job. And then she came in for the second job, which was event coordinator, and that was the job that she wanted, and she didn't get the job. And somebody else got the job, and in 6 weeks that other person realised that with a young baby that she just couldn't do it. And so I remember Carren, who runs the show, Howard thinks he runs the show, but Carren actually does, you know. I remember Carren actually saying, you know, I think we should ask Ruth, you know. And Ruth wanted to do this. This was her job. This is not her job. This was her passion. This is where she wanted to be. And we travel together now, you know. She's been with us a while, and we travel together, and she does what she wants to do. So I actually believe that if you don't want your own business, but there's a business that really appeals to you, or someone that appeals to you, go and ask to work for them.
I think that is such a grand idea.
Yeah, work with it. Like, Carren, I know there's people who want to work with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I would.
Carren's so surprised.
Yeah, she looks really surprised too. And you, Kim, look, you've just employed someone who really wanted to work for you, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful girl. Did she start?
Yeah.
Oh, little
And
Catherine.
she's just the best person I could have got.
She is. She will be.
Yeah.
A superstar.
And do you know what she is? She loves what you do. She is an advocate. Every single one of these people that are on my team love what I do, are advocates of what I do what I do, walk the talk. And what blew me away is I did a talk here on the Sunshine Coast. I've done 2 now, which they're all from the Sunshine Coast. Do you know every single team member came?
Wow.
And
That says something, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I went, you know, there was only 2, I think, that were being paid, maybe only 1, I don't know. They all came, they all helped, they all wanted to listen, they all brought their kids,
Do you know, Cyndi?
their spouses. I was blown away by it.
I think that is such a testament to what you've created, that people just want to be in your company and want to be with you and what you've created. Not because, well, maybe because you are their guru for sure, but also because that's what lights their soul up. That's what brings the best out of them, and they see the best version of themselves when they're with you. And I think that's certainly true for me. I see the best version of myself when I'm with the two of you, for sure. And that's what makes it so compelling. God, I long for those days.
What do you mean long for them?
Yeah. Well, when I get that team, you know, like that, to have the team of people who get that same.
But let's have that. Like, look at the people that go to your support team, the people that are all doing.
Oh, my crew!
Your crew are amazing.
Gosh. Oh, my crew for my events are just. They are
angels.
They are sensational. I mean, that makes me very emotional. They are just amazing. The transformations that my crew facilitate for.
So maybe we need to look at the definition of team members, because I think sometimes the people that don't necessarily work for us or
get paid by us
are necessarily
because the crew are volunteer for
the crew that you have inspire those people in your workshops beyond what you would be able to do from the stage.
And they help in the facilitation process.
Exactly.
You know,
for sure.
Yeah, they're brilliant.
They are. They're absolutely amazing. I'm so grateful for them. Sorry, I was actually more referring to like when I build my team of, you know, like my admin and my PA and that sort of thing.
I think with you, Carren, and correct me if I am completely wrong.
And what I'm very hard to work for. Yes, you're right.
High maintenance.
You know, you're very skilled in many areas.
That's your problem.
Somebody else said that to me yesterday.
You're very skilled
What's
in.
with that?
You are. You're skilled in many areas. You are.
Is it hard for you to let go of certain roles, like to trust other people?
Yeah, exactly. She wants to do it all herself, but she wants somebody to do what she can do better. But I don't know if that's possible. You are skilled in more areas than I've ever known. Like when we'll talk about. So I was talking about my skin. I remember one day, and you went, and you go, "Oh yes, I used to do beauty therapy or something like that." And I went, "Of course, what haven't you done? You know, psychology, recruitment, accounting,
journalism, beauty therapy."
Exactly.
No wonder she's
speaking,
and that's why you didn't have
real
children.
estate.
You've got your team. Remember, in a couple of podcasts ago, you actually said there's probably 8 different people in that head of yours. Well, you're just 8 personalities in one.
Is that all?
They're the ones that have come out.
And there is that person that is like that. And I think I was like that. I couldn't let go of anything, and it wasn't until I had to let go. Now I look at my business. I have no idea how to do dispatch. No idea how to do the website, event coordinating. I don't even know where I'm going to be tomorrow. My event coordinator goes, she'll book everything for me, and then she'll give me the week's schedule, and then she'll give me on a piece of paper as I leave this office. She'll give me on a piece of paper when I have to be at the airport. So I used to do all my flights, all my everything. When I'm meant to be at the airport, I look at that schedule the night before, and all I do is look when I've got to be at the airport. Then when I'm in the plane, I go, okay, where am I meant to be? Oh, I'm meant to be there. Oh, I'm meant to hire that car. And so I've let that all go. Whereas I used to be, I want to fly at that time, and I want to be there at this time, and I want that car, and I want to use this person, and I want to do that. So all of that has basically, I've let it go. I had to let it go. So I don't know what's happening down there.
Just as well.
Yeah.
On that note, I want to ask you both, we've talked about all the great things around business and everything. How do you both handle the challenges, like difficult people, difficult team members, how to get rid of people?
Howie. That's all I have to say.
Everybody needs a Howie.
Yeah.
Do you think I could get Howie part-time?
I don't do any of it, Howie.
Oh, I see what you mean.
I don't deal with any of it.
But you deal with people on Facebook. You deal with people in your seminars that might challenge you. You deal with it in a different. You have a different.
I have that. I deal with that. But as far as our team goes here,
How did you do it originally though? When you had a PA and you.
I had one person, and I liked that person, and I worked with them, and I trusted them, and that was one person. One's very different to a team.
How do you trust somebody with your business, which is your reputation, what you've created, the complexity of it. How do you actually trust somebody to get it right as often as you would get it right, and to because it's everything that you've worked for? How do you hand that over, and how do you know when it's time to put that person on too?
Yeah, you get to that point where you realise you can't do it anymore. Like Howard's at the point now where he can't handle the little day-to-day stuff.
Right.
It's all getting too much for him, so we're going to have to put somebody on
like
that
an operations manager.
Yeah, that can do that. So we've actually segmented the whole business into separate parts, and we have a head of each department now. So once upon a time we'd have a team meeting, and that would be every Friday. We can't do that anymore. Our team's too big. It's too many departments. There's too much things happening. And even though it's only 15, we've learnt that businesses grow from 0 to 10, 10 to 30, 30 to 200 and onward.
Yeah.
So we're in the growth phase between 10 and 30. So very quickly we'll make it to the 30 phase, over the next couple of years. And in order to go from 0 to 10, you can have team meetings. You can have everybody in the meeting. And then when you grow from 10 to 30, you have to change everything. And we actually now have an operations manager that's helping us with that. So we've segmented all the team members into certain points, and we then have somebody that manages each of those points. So one of the managers is someone who's been with us for a long period of time, and she tells me what to do. She controls my life. She comes up here, one day she came up here, right, and you went, she's going on, and I looked and I went, do you like your job, Carren?
Yes, you be nice. Best you be nice.
And she looked at me and she said, yeah, but you've got to keep me interested. I've got to be doing new things. And, and I went, and we're doing that for you? She going, yeah, I love this.
Oh, isn't she beautiful?
But she does. She has taken on this as hers. Mm. And Ruth no longer says, Cyndi this, Cyndi. I don't think that's good for you. I don't think that's the right thing for you. I think this is what we should be doing. No, they weren't paying enough. And this... So they take that role on as if they are.
Yeah.
They are. It's their business. It's their... and I watch each one of these team members that have done that. And so it's starting Carren, she was our first team member after Annika left. Annika was my PA for many years. And Annika left because she'd finished her degree and I only had part-time work for her. Then Carren moved in. And it was almost like she was the right person at the right time. Mm. And now, I've just watched her evolve and watch everything that she does evolve. So, yeah, you know what? You know when the next person is. Like this education gentleman that has just started and we're now working with, I knew I was ready for him. Mm. I knew I was ready for him. And before that, who we were ready for? Customer service, because there were so many people ringing. I don't know which protocol to do. I don't know what to do. Bringing on nutritionists. So, I think, you cannot do it by yourself anymore. And I think you've kept your business, Carren, at a point where you can control it.
Mm. Yeah, very much.
And you need to make mini Carrens. That's what's going to take it past that point where you train the trainer to train what you're doing, because you have a capacity of your time. Whereas there has to be other people out there that train what you do and train under your umbrella. That's like where I feel...
And being able to let it go enough that they'll deliver the information, but it won't be the way you would do it. It's quite a big... It's a really big place to get to, that you can train someone. But
look at her, she's cringing here.
They will never deliver it the way you do, unless you keep your business where it is.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, let's not. We'll make the next podcast all about me. How about that?
We are going to do the next podcast all about you.
Well, I think just a couple of other little quick things here was you're also very open to the possibilities. So I think that was amazing. With Howie coming on, and then what Bruce would always suggest, and obviously those sorts of things. I think I wrote here support team girlfriends.
That's us.
Yep. I mean, people outside of your business that you can talk to. The funny thing is, whenever we're out, we all end up talking about, like, we talk like we are now. This is what's hilarious. And then we get our husbands all going, do you have to keep talking about work?
Oh, yeah.
But we're like,
Agreed. They don't want us to.
this is who we are. So
This is what we are.
yeah, so that's very hard not to respect. So then we make little times like this. But I think you need a support cheer team, a cheerleading team that actually gives you the pickups when you're not there. And I think sometimes your team can do that just by coming in, bouncing in off the walls with something they've done or achieved. Or I love what happens around the team. And I think the other point that I've learnt from you, Cyndi, is to educate. Never stop learning yourself in business and constantly educating yourself and what you can learn, not only about business but also about the area you're passionate in. And how do you do that? Through reading?
Podcasts. I listen to podcasts. I read and podcasts. That's all I do. I don't listen to radio. I love the ABC when it comes to conversations with Richard Feidler. I love really good interviews on the ABC. I can't stand commercial radio and commercial television. I love watching Australia Story when there's an inspirational thing happening, and I love watching the ABC because there's no advertisement. So I've gotten to the point where even those are beginning to grate on me because I'm not getting the information that I want. So I go through all the podcasts and I see which one's going to give me the information that I need, whether it be in education for nutrition, which is mainly what I do now, and I leave the business side to Howard. So he does the education in his business, like he reads Robin Sharman's books, Being a Leader and stuff like that. So he reads those books. I read all the nutrition books, and and then I think that's. You become, and it is still balanced because I love doing it. Like, I love listening to Underground Wellness by Sean Croxton. He interviews the most amazing people, does, yeah. And it's all on health. I love listening to the Gluten Summit, to the Eating Psychology Summit. I just get so excited, and then they become my mentors, the people they've interviewed. Then I read everything I can possibly about them, and then I interview them. I just realise that that's what it's about. It's the information's out there and it's free. This is all free information. And willful blindness is when there is something out there that you should know but you don't know because you refuse to look.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and I'm never going to be in that, and most people live there.
I think we need to put that on the website. Willful blindness. Something out there
is when there's something out there that you should know that you don't know because you choose not to know it.
Wow. God, that's awesome. Can't tattoo that on my forehead.
Yeah, you can go for that one.
You're going to look like one of those Polynesian Maoris with mokus and tattoos all over. Or Prison Break. You could have stories all over your back. We could.
But you don't have to be willful blind. There's no way you need to be that way, even if you have no money.
That's so true.
Do you know that there is a lecture by Michael Pollan and I forget the other guy's name that's free. They lecture to university students in the US at a major university, and it's free to the public to download.
Well, on the internet, you can get access to UTunes, not iTunes, UTunes, and it's university lectures.
Oh yeah, UTunes, yes,
UTunes.
Yeah, and that's not YOU, that's UTunes. Yeah, and it's all
U.
Yeah,
I do a lot of. I've got a whole bunch of lectures and tutorials that I downloaded on philosophy of the mind. Amazeballs.
And so every subject is out there.
Yeah.
So whatever you want to learn, it's out there, and you don't have to pay. And probably coaching is out there. Business coaching is out there. I just haven't looked because we had Bruce, and I don't even think 5 years ago podcasting was that.
Podcasting's been 6 years.
6 years, is it?
Yeah.
So I probably didn't get into it until probably 3 or 4 years ago, and my first introduction was Sean Croxton in Underground Wellness, and he's been going since 2008. But I don't know if he was going in podcasting. I think he may have been just going through a website.
Yeah, there's been a couple of online radio sites, well, if you call them radio sites, but just online sites where you put audio.
Yeah.
I had a lady ask me if she could come and speak to me recently about business and with a business opportunity, and I sat there with her. I didn't have a lot of time on this particular day, but she'd been asking and asking and asking. She sat in front of me and she had an idea, but she had nothing else. She didn't even have her husband on board. She had no one else around her on board and wanted my feedback, the poor thing. And she said, because she was inspired by the three of us, and she said, this is my little perler to leave you with. She said, I really want to do this, but I'm just so passionate about helping other people. I've been on this incredible journey. I've done a lot of learning, and I've done all this sort of stuff, where I've actually really wanted to learn and grow myself, and now I feel I'm ready to share that message with everyone else. And she goes, and so I'm just wondering, I don't have to do this. I just want to have this centre. I want to do this, but I don't have to make money. I'm doing it for my passion. I want to do it because I'm passionate about it. And in that moment, I sat there and I went, look, this might sound cold, this might sound harsh, because I actually saw me in her probably 15 years ago thinking, I don't have to make money, it's not about the money. Money's not my driver. It's not the whole thing and all that. And I sat there and I went, now listen up. If you think you're going to do something that's not about making money in business, then you need to cut the cord now. I said, because otherwise you're going to burn yourself out, you're going to ruin your family, you're going to do the whole thing. Otherwise, why are you doing this? So for me, I've really had to teach this to myself, that it is about making money, ethical money, and it's about creating choices, and money has energy and money has a force, and if you can do good things with that money, then that's what I believe is the power of business or education and things like what we're doing. So I'm really sorry if I came across a little harsh, but...
No, but I think that there's a really important distinction, because there is a distinction between a hobby, like doing something that you love, but doing it on the level of a hobby, versus doing it on the level of buying yourself a job. So you just, you're in business just to earn a wage, versus being in business as a business owner. There's a distinction between the hobby, the job, and the business.
Yeah,
good point.
Yeah, because
for some of us it starts as a
hobby. Yeah,
totally.
Which could be writing your blog, and that was my other point for many of you who don't know what to do. Start writing it down.
Blog.
Money blogging is massive, and how a lot of people have done, or blogging your recipes if you're into cooking, or blogging your experience as a newborn mother, or people are out there wanting to read, listen, and look at the information because they don't want to have to do it. Mm-hmm. So many businesses have started out just by sharing information. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I think that was everything I got from you, my darling.
I think this has been a very insightful podcast. I'm feeling very inspired to go out there and do some fabulous things.
That's another ism. It really is.
Just read out your little isms, would you?
Yeah, let's hear the isms. I love it. They're just so good.
I should read two of them to you, because the other one I just absolutely love as well. One of the participants who was in my speaker's fast track event was listening so specifically to everything that I said. So she came up with my Carrenisms. Specificity,
but I love how she put Carren Smith.
Yeah, so she's written all of these words, and then in specificity she highlighted the C. Mm-hmm. In Uber she highlighted the A, so she spelled it UBA. True or true.
You always say that.
I always say. So she highlighted the two R's. Uniquenicity. She highlighted the E. N. She highlighted and then I said noodle baking. And she highlighted the N. So in all of highlighted, she's highlighted the word Carren. And then she's done Smith, using the words shizzle, amazeballs, volition, tights, and shut the front door. Talk about clever.
Oh, that was just brilliant.
That's so clever. And that was a lady, but then I'm going to say it out loud. Katrina Hood, you're a legend, my friend. And then somebody else posted on my Facebook page, but this is kind of a little bit separate to the speaker's fast track. I may seem quiet and reserved, but if you mess with my dog, I will break out a level of crazy that will make your nightmares seem like a happy place.
I read that, and I was about to write something in there, and I went, no.
And because I have the most savage dreams. When I dream about people being cruel to animals, I have really savage dreams. And I actually, when I read that, I went, oh, that is just so beautiful. Poetry. Anyway. Anyway, so I hope that this podcast has been, or we all hope that this podcast has been as inspiring for you as it has been for us. Go ahead and post on our Facebook page and let us know what your thoughts are. If you're in business or flirting with going into business, hopefully this has been really insightful for you, because I think there's nothing more potent than having somebody that you can model on. And I know that a lot of you guys who follow us follow Cyndi and are interested in nutrition. So hopefully this has been really, really potent for you. So go to Facebook, allthews.facebook.com/up for a chat. Make sure that you leave your comments there, or you can post your comments on the Wellness Couch, which is allthews.thewellnesscouch.com/up for a chat. And join us here next week on Up for a Chat and become part of the ripple effect that's changing the world. See you then.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/TheWellnessCouch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives. Whilst the Wellness Couch presenter endeavor to provide accurate and helpful information to their listeners, these podcasts cannot take into account individual circumstances and are not intended to be a substitute for health and medical advice from a qualified health professional. You should always seek the advice of a qualified health professional before acting on any of the information provided by any of the Wellness Couch podcasts.